Today we're going to be taking a look at First Baptist Sunrise Beach, firstonthelake.com. So to start out, we'll go to the URL for your website and /wp-admin. This will take you where you log in, put in your username and password that we've given you, and log in. Now we're in the back end of the website, and the main things that you will need to look at are not anything here on the right. It's all this stuff here on the left. So I'm going to go down the line through each of these, most of these, and explain how to update and do most of the things you're going to want to know how to do. So we'll start looking at updates. This is the plugins and themes used to create your website. You are welcome to select all and update them whenever you notice that there are updates. We do routinely check all of our sites, so you don't actually have to do that if you don't want to, if you never want to worry about it. They will be updated regularly on our end. We will be doing that. Posts. This is a plugin available if you wanted to create blog posts at any point. You could do that, but we won't talk about that since you don't have that, or you're not currently using it. So we'll move on to Accordion Pro. I'm going to open a new tab where I can see your site live so that you can see what I'm talking about. So on your homepage, you have Plan Your Visit. This is called an accordion. You can kind of see why, because it opens and closes like that. And we'll look at accordion here. So Plan Your Visit, that's this accordion that we're using here on the home page. If you'll notice here, it has a title, and if you scroll past this Select Your Design, this is the design that we're using. It's checked, selected. Then you can come down here and see what's inside of each accordion. So for each of these little headers, winter services, what should I bring? That's right here, accordion title. And then in the accordion description, it looks like a lot of different stuff that maybe doesn't look familiar or make sense. If that doesn't look right, or you don't know coding, then you're going to come into this editor here. And right now you're on the text side of the editor, which shows all the code and what makes it look the way it does. Go to the visual side, and then that will show you how it actually appears. So here you use all these buttons just like you would use anything else in a word processing program like Microsoft Word. So you can align it different ways. You can bold it or italicize it. You can change the size. You can add a hyperlink to an external site. So you just type and you can change whatever information you want in here and format it the way you want, and it'll show up here in the text side. It'll show up appropriately. So for each of these buttons, each of these little accordions, that's how that works. So some of them you don't have special bolding or anything. It's just the words, just like that. So if you wanted to add a new one, you would just click add a new accordion, and then you put your title here. You would add whatever words you wanted to here, and then you could edit them in here however you want. And then click OK and click update up here, and that'll save all your changes. And then if you ever want to get rid of them, you would just hit the little trash can and say okay, because you do want to delete that. So there are more things that you can format here. So if you want to change, so right now the open close icon is a plus and minus, you'll see right here. You can change that if you would like to, and you can change other things over here if you want. But if you like the way it looks, then really the main things you need to worry about are just if you saw a typo or something, you would just come in here and change it and then click update. And you can always create a new one. So all accordions, looks like we started to make it here and then finished it up here. You can add a whole brand new one, and it would pretty much function the same way and be the same process. And so then when you're ready to place this accordion somewhere, you copy and paste this short code where you want it. And I'll talk more on that in just a minute. So let's move on to events. This is what shows up on your calendar. So if you want to add a new event, you would click Add New. My internet is kind of going slow right now. There we go. Okay, so then you'll put the title of your event here. And then you'll choose your date. So whatever day of the week, and if it's a different month, you can choose whenever it'll be. Whatever time it is, you can type in whatever time. And then if it's over a period of days, if it's like a summer camp and it goes throughout, then you can say, it's from August 2nd to August 4th. Or you can say there's no end time and then you just have the start date. Or you can say it's an all-day event and then you don't have to put the times there. And then you're going to want to make sure you're in the right time zone. And if you want to repeat this event, you can say, we're going to do this again in 3 months. And then say, okay, we're going to do it here. And then click apply. Or if you're going to repeat it weekly, every 1 week on Sunday, and we never end. Or monthly, so the first Monday, the second, the third, fourth Tuesday, or whatever it is, you can make it repeat however you want. So if you have a weekly Bible study or anything like that, you can add location using Google Map here. You can add cost and tickets if it's a concert or something like that. And then down here, you see the same type of thing we used in the accordion, same type of items, and you would just format it the same way. So you can put your details about your event here. And if you want to add a featured image to your event, you can add it here, select featured image, and you can upload a file, or you can choose one that's already in here. So you would just click it and set featured image. And click publish. But I don't want to publish it. And then if you need to edit any of these events, if you accidentally made it for the wrong time, this is where you would find them, and you can just click on it and change whatever it is you need to change. So that's the main things you need to know about events. Let's move on to media. This is just where all your pictures, and eventually if you upload any PDFs or files like this, that's where they will be located. So this is just where you can see what you have. You can delete them from here. You can crop them, edit them, look at them. But like I showed you, within each individual page or event, you have the option to add it through there. So this is just, you can just see them here, and you can add them through here if that's what you want to do. So let's move on to forms. You have 2 forms right now. So they're pretty simple. You can edit them by clicking on them. So if you wanted to take away the last name or change this to full name, type in full name here. If you want to make it not a required field, you can deselect that. You can drag these and reorder them. You can add more fields if you want to add something like these buttons. Then you can click on it and say, how did you hear about us? Something like that. And then then that'll show up like that. And you've got standard fields, so like just a single line of text if you just want to give them some space to write something out. A paragraph, like I showed you, radio buttons or checkboxes, numbers, name, address, different things there. But what you have right now is probably going to work for you. And if you want to get rid of them or certain boxes, then you would just hit that X like I did and then hit update. So it's pretty simple, pretty easy. If you need to add more things, they're just found right here. So let's look at settings. I don't think you will need to change much here, but in the notifications section, this might be where you want to change something. You could go ahead and duplicate this and then click on it. And if you want this to go to another email, for example, a church secretary or a pastor's email, then you can put that email right here, whatever you want it to be, and it will send that every time that form is submitted. As soon as a form on your website is submitted from that page, it will go directly to this email. All of the contents, you don't even have to log in. It'll just go right there. And so you can change that on any form, the notifications. I would suggest just duplicating this one and then changing the email, or you can do it however. You can go in and change this one and just edit the email, edit the name, and then it sends everything to you. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this for now since we don't need it. So that's the main functions of forms. Yeah, I don't think you would need to know much else there. So let's move on to pages. That's where all of your pages are. So these different items on here. So let's take a look at the About page and see what's on here. Anything. So yeah, we've just got some words and then a YouTube video embedded here. So right here is the embed code for your YouTube video. You'll have to go to YouTube and you should be able to find it pretty easily. There's just a button. There's a button underneath the videos that gives you the embed code, along with being able to share it on Facebook or whatever, and then you just copy and paste it here into the text side. So if you want to add a different video or a new video, and then the width and the height is what makes it appear this size. So if you need to end up changing the width of the video, this is in pixels, so you can just play around with that until it looks how you want, or you can just do it the exact same as what you have here. Take note of how we have it and then just keep it that way. So, and then always you'll always want to click update after you make any changes. So calendar, you don't need to change anything there. When you add an event, it shows up on the calendar. Join the family. This is one of those forms, like I said, that can go directly into. So let's look at this page. So if you'll notice, I'm already logged in. You can come down here to where it says edit. And within this page, I've got the short code for this form. How that was added was add form. Select a form, and then you just pick which form, and then usually you don't want to display the form. I would uncheck display form title and form description because you don't want that there. And it puts that code there for you and it shows up. Then you have membership class book on this page. So I'm going to look at it here. So membership class book, how we got it to look like that is we have it hyperlinked to that PDF that was in your media. So if you look here at your media library, click on this PDF. Here's what you need to copy and paste to be able to hyperlink it. So then you would hyperlink these words. So how you hyperlink something is highlight it. So I would come here, copy and paste that, or copy that, add that, and then paste it there. Or I can click here and I can link to any of my internal pages or events here. So right now it's just showing events, but I can link it to any of my pages. But we don't want to do that. And then also format, it's also a button. And that's how it has that look right there, like a button. And then these are just hyperlinked, those items there. And that's how a lot of your pages work. So I believe on your Get Involved page, you've got all of these different items. Those are just hyperlinked to that specific page. So let's look at this page real quick. It is, all of these items are hyperlinked to that particular page. And we also use the short code for the form right there, and then we use short code to put it in columns like that. So if you need to add a new, let's say you need to add some new items, then you're going to want to make sure that they are still in columns like that and look good. And again, if you run into some problems and you can't figure out something, you can always ask us, but that's what these words are. That's how it puts it in columns on that page. And then also you have a featured image on that page, and that's why it shows up at the top right there. So if you want to change this to something else, you can always upload a new image and then select it and then set featured image. And then remember, you always come up here and click update. So I think those are the main things that you need to know about pages. Like I said, you can bold, italicize, bullet points, number, anything that you want. And that accordion on your home page, you can add the short code the same way that you added the form short code, is right through here. And that's the same with your staff page, I believe. So do you have pastors and deacons? Is this what I want? Maybe we took off. I remember adding a bunch of different people, but maybe you took them off. So we'll talk about that later. Okay, moving on to sermons. I don't believe you have any sermons on your site right now, but this is where they would be added if you do start to upload them. But since you're not using that, I'm not going to go over that. Homepage areas. Those are, as you would expect, these different areas of your homepage. So let's talk about this a little bit. Your first area is a slider. And when we get to Revolution slider down here, I'll show you more about this. Right now, it's just that short code copied and pasted in there. And that is the same for the map. So I'll show you how WP Google Maps work, but it's the same thing. It's just short code copied and pasted. So you'll also notice that they're not in the correct order right here. They're not in the order of the same page that they are on the home page. You have to reorder them through the tab that says reorder. And you just drag them to whatever order you want, if you wanted to reorder them or if you add new ones for some reason. So let's look at, what do we believe which is this, plan your visit? Yeah, so you've just got a regular background with this is in heading 1 and then that accordion short code. So that one's easy. And then the slider, let's look at welcome. That's going to be this one. It's going to be pretty much the same deal. It's going to be, you've got everything centered welcome in heading 1. And then plan your visit is hyperlinked to the page plan your visit within your site, and it's formatted as a button. And for homepage areas, you got to scroll all the way down here, and this is where you format them. This one is just plain white background. There's not anything that you need to format. So all you need to click is padding, and that's it. So that's how we made that one. So the home Bible studies, let's look at that one. It's essentially the same thing. It's going to look the same right here. The only difference is we have a photo in the background and we have a color over the top of it. So if you ever want to use this same exact color, so let's say you want to add another area after this one, we kind of have white and then a colored background and then white. If you ever want to add another one, then you can copy and paste this exact same color. All colors have a code like that, and then you can put it in right there. And then you can drag this to make it more or less transparent over this photo. So that's how you get that overlay. And you add the file you can drag and drop anything here and the photos that are already there. And then you always want to click padding, yes. And then looks like we have extra narrow area here. So you just kind of want to duplicate what was done on the other ones if you're making a new homepage area, which you may not ever do, but this is just to help you. And then, like I said, always click update. So if you wanted to add a new one, you would just click add new, give it a title, change the size of the font in whichever way you wanted, make it a button if you wanted to. Like, you just highlight it and then click button, and then that'll show up as a button. But oh yes, also this is set to white text so that it shows up as white over that. So I don't think I saved that, so it should still look okay. All right, good. So if I wanted to add a new one, I'll just for the sake of, I'll do this real quick. So we'll center that, make this heading 1. Not this though. Sometimes it does this. Okay. There we go. Format it as a button. Hyperlink it to, if you want to do a specific event, right there. Add link. And I want to make all of this white text. Oop, not brown. White. So you need to make sure I uncheck brown, and then I want to make this just that one particular part a button. Okay. So then come down here, add a file. Let's choose a picture that would actually work. Let's just go with that one. That's not gonna work. So what color do I want to use? And then slide this up here, padding. Oops. What did I do? Slide this up here, padding yes, extra narrow yes, and then we'll click publish. And it's going to show up just wherever it chooses to on this page, and it shows the top. So there you go. And then if I wanted to reorder it, I'd go into reorder and drag it. Come on. Drag it wherever I wanted. But I don't want this. So we'll go to new area and click trash. And you'll notice it shows up here in the trash. And if you want to restore it, you can, or you can delete it permanently, which is what I'm going to do because we don't want it. So that's the basics of how that works. Let's move on to staff members. This is pods for all your staff. It looks like I said, that you don't have, you just have them listed right now. I think, let me look at this page. Yeah, right now you've just got them listed, but if you want to later add these people as in a pod format, I think you would need help formatting it to make it look right. So you're not really using this. So I'm not going to go over this, I don't think. If we need to go over this later, we can, but I'm not going to put it here because you're not currently using the staff pods like we thought that you were maybe going to. So we'll just move on to appearance. Under appearance, there are two things that you need to think about: widgets and menus. So let's start with widgets. This is what controls what's on your menu, what's at the top here, and then what's in your footer. So in the top you have First Baptist. That's how we have your wording. So this you're probably not going to want to mess with because we've got it looking just right for you right here, First Baptist Sunrise Beach. I wouldn't change anything there, but obviously that's up to you. And then you've got a custom menu, which is you have a home top menu, and then you have a social media menu down here. Then this is what allows you to have homepage areas, and then in your footer you have this information. So it's right here. If you end up changing an email or you need to change the phone number, that's where that's located. You can come in and change it and then click save. And then you have your other custom menu, your social media menu right there. So if you ever need to add something, you want to add some more wording down here, you can do that. It might not look the way you want to, but that's done through Visual Editor, and then you would just click where you wanted it. So I want it in footer 2, so I'll add it and then give it a title, and then you have the same options for formatting it that you do in any of the other areas on the site. And then you would hit save. And if you want to, you can drag this to other places if you decide you want to put it somewhere else. And then if you decide you don't want it, just delete it. And so the same works for if you want to add a form, one of your forms. If you want to add it to the bottom of your page, then you would say add it to footer 2, and then you would choose which form you wanted and then whether or not you wanted to display the form title and click save. So you can choose where it goes, you can drag it, you can rearrange it, and that's how you add items there. So let's move on to menus, which is how these menus were created. For instance, this menu, and then also the social media menu. So at the top you have all those different buttons, and then these are made sub items just by dragging them over. So you can make them sub items within, I can make each a sub item of the next, but obviously that's not what we want to do. So if you end up creating a new page, it's going to show up right here. So it'll show up in most recent, or you can view all, or you can search. So if I want to add, I want to add this church officers page, click add to menu, and it's going to show up at the bottom. And then I can just put it wherever I want. And if I want to change it to say a different title, then I can give it a different title here, or I can remove it. Then for your giving link, how this is done, you're using an outside site for this. So how that was done was through a custom link. So you would copy and paste your custom link here and then give it a title. So then we gave it the title giving, and then you click add to menu, and that's how it's there. So if you end up wanting to add more menu items, the only thing you need to just be cautious of is how much room you have up here. It's not going to look good if you keep adding more and more. It'll get too wide. So just need to think about how you want that to look. And again, if you need help, you can ask, but this should get you started. And then click Save Menu. And then for your social media menu, click Social and select. And then if you end up having you start using Twitter or Instagram or something else, you can do another custom link. And then what you would want to do is get the URL for your specific Twitter page. And then expand this, copy and paste this here, and then just change, it says Facebook twice in here. Just change it to say Twitter, click Add to Menu, and then you can put it where you want it. And then if you decide you don't want it, remove it. And then always hit Save Menu. So those are the main things you would need to know how to do there. Plugins, that's what I talked about before, that build your website. If you want to do more things with your website, you might need to add more plugins. Probably not going to do that. Moving on to users, this is where you would add, I will get you a admin user, but right now this is where our admin is, and we'll put an email in there, and then this is where you would change your password if you wanted to change it. Tools and settings, all of these things you don't really need to worry about. The next thing you need to worry about is slider revolution, and that is what creates this slide at the top of your page. So for your page, you have these different words sliding in here: serving, teaching. So how this is set up is, I'm going to click on this. It's your home slider. We've got a photo in the background, media library, and then you can look at all of your elements here. So I've got all these different elements, and so if I want to change what this says, I can click the pencil and I can change what it says and then hit the check mark. If you want to change out one of these words to something besides serving, teaching, growing, loving, that's how I could do it. If you want to add a new word, you could just duplicate it and then edit the word, and then you would hit that green check mark. You can change the color of the words through here. Like I said, all the colors have a code number that you can look up on the internet somewhere, or you can just play around with it in here and choose what color you want. The timing and the time spacing of each of these words is all down here. So probably don't want to mess with this because it looks so good and so clean right now. And if you mess with how these are done, then it's not going to look the same. So let me, just for the sake of showing you how this works, I'm going to add a blank slide and just kind of show you some of the basic elements of Revolution Slider, just so you know. So if you want to add a second slide, obviously you're more than welcome to do that. So you could you can always just use a color if you want to just choose a color for your background. Like I said, you can just play around with the different colors, or you can choose an image. So come into the media library, choose an image. Okay, so now I want to add some text. So I'll add a layer. And I can change the font to whatever Google font I would maybe want to use. I can change the size. And if you change the font size, you need to change the line height size. I can change the weight, make it wider. And then I always want to center my items here. Then if I want to, let's say, add another layer. Obviously, you're probably not going to say the things I'm saying here, but just for an example, so let's change it. And then Let's move it so we can see it. And then I can change the color. Can change the color right there. And let's see, what else might you want to do? If you want to add a background color, why isn't it letting me? There we go. And then if you want to give that color, let's see, you need some padding around the edges to make it look right. And if you want to give it a border, I can give it a border. Let's say we want to do a double, and then we want to make it 3 pixels on each side. And I want to, as I hover over it, I want the color to change. What do I want the color to change to? You know, something close but different. Then when you hover over it, changes, and you want to, you know, every once in a while click save, and where did it go? It just went away. There, okay. Oh, I was under hover, that's why. So then if you hover over it, it changes. Okay, so you can, and like I said, click on each element. So there's your background. And let's say I want to link this to, you know, somewhere else, and I can say actions. Click this little plus, and then when you click it, I want to do a simple link, and I want to link it to, and then you can make this whatever you want. Click save. So probably, you know, you'd want this text to say something like, and then it looks, you know, kind of like a button. And then you can add animation, so you can change the way that it comes in. Both of these can be changed to different things. And then you can change the timing of that down here, so how long it takes, and then when it comes in. And so we'll push play and we'll see what it looks like. So and you'll want to hit save, and then you can preview. And you'll want to make sure that these match with all your screen sizes, that it fits and looks okay. So right now we don't have many elements and they're pretty small, but you'll just want to go through each of these screen sizes and make sure that it fits within these boundaries, and then just readjust them and hit save each time you readjust them. So obviously this doesn't look like something you'd actually want, but that's showing you kind of the elements that you might need. And if you want to, you know, if you wanted to duplicate this first slide, you can always duplicate it. And since we don't want this one, I'm going to go ahead and delete it. So, and you can always make, if you make a new slide, slide, you can make it invisible by clicking on that. So different items like that, but you're kind of set up to just have this one slide, and that's totally fine. But I just wanted to give you some items to be able to use if you needed. So let's move on to WP Google Map. And you will want to look at manage locations. So right now you've got your church's location right here. So if you wanted to edit it, you can click edit. Or if you wanted to add a location, you can always do that. I don't know why you would need to, but this is just where it would be. So you need to give it a title. And then if you start typing in the address, so if you just start typing in an address, it's going to give you items, suggestions. And then if you just click on one, it's going to find it for you. And then you'll hit save location. But obviously we don't want to do that. Manage maps. You'll see you have one map. And then this is the short code that was put in the homepage area to make it fit. So if you want to look at this map, if you want to change the width or the height or the zoom level, if you want to zoom out on it, then you could do that. And then if you create a new location, it will show up right here, and you can check it and it will show up on your map. The rest of the stuff you're going to want to leave the same. And so then if you wanted to create a new map with a different location, I would just look at what you have on this and then copy it to make it look the same. And then you would add that short code. But you're probably not going to change much since you're probably not changing anytime soon. But if you are, that's where that would take place. So that's the last thing that you really need to know about on your site. And if you need help with anything else, please let us know, and we'd love to help you. But those things should really get you a good start on updating your website.